All right, guys, welcome back to my podcast on the BIMBO Zone headquarters. This podcast is the first episode of this podcast because as I explained in my last podcast, that it's going to be like the BIMBO Zone headquarters is like a umbrella with different podcasts under it. So this episode is going to be the very first episode of my series, CLICKBAIT CRIMINALS, where we are going to be talking about criminals that come from the internet, that we found on the internet, that we saw signs. It was like, wait, that's weird. And then came out, oh shit, we were right. So yeah, a couple of disclaimers before this episode starts. First thing first, I'm so sorry for bringing the podcast back and then not recording for like a month. In my defense, I had to travel for work, and then I had a lot of stuff going on, and then Valentine's Day happened, and then I'm going to tell you my Valentine's Day story when I do my celebrity gossip Kiki podcast, because girl. But anyway, so this podcast is going to be, just as I said, it's going to be called CLICKBAIT CRIMINALS, and it's going to be about criminals, about people that we saw on the internet, whether we found them on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, whether they really are criminals or not. They're criminals to us, and what they did is criminals. Eventually I want to talk about Shane Dawson, even though I'm pretty sure that Shane has like an unspoken beef with me that he has never really like stepped on, because every time I utter Shane Dawson's name on the internet, either it gets taken down or the entire account gets taken down. It like something happens, and I think that Shane Dawson does what like sex workers do, and they pay somebody and their only job is to just constantly be on the internet and look for negative stuff. And like for the sex workers, it's like leaked content, but like constantly look for negative stuff and then take it down. I really do feel like that's what Shane Dawson does in order to like thrive and not like, kill himself. Also, to disclaimer, everything that I'm saying is my opinion about how I feel about these people. Obviously, some things are going to be general consensus of the public, and some things are just going to be unspoken truths that we know to be fact, even though they are opinions. But mostly everything I'm going to ever say on across all podcasts, but specifically to CLICKBAIT CRIMINALS, will be facts based off of research and my opinions. So yeah, not spoiler alert, but random disclaimer. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about abuse, nothing sexual. Oh yeah, no, we are going to be talking about sexual abuse. So yes, we're going to be talking about physical abuse, sexual abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, family vlogging, bad moms, grooming. Oh, you know what? Trial and error. Write down disclaimers next time when making outline for podcasts, Yas, because I can't think of all of them, but I definitely, yeah. So those are the disclaimers, and then as I'm talking, if I don't think I mentioned it and it pops up, I will obviously say that. And of course, if these things make you uncomfortable, I'm going to have so many other podcast episodes that you can watch. It's not the biggest deal. It is okay. Life moves on. So yeah. So today's episode is going to be about Ruby Franke and the 8-passenger family, and really it's not going to be about Ruby. I don't really want to give her any limelight. It's going to be about Shari Franke, who is the oldest daughter and the oldest child in the 8-passenger family. She wrote a book. I have this thing where I cannot read autobiographies or biographies. I have to listen to them. So for basically the entire month of January, I spent any free time that I had while I was at work, cleaning, just doing anything. I have been listening to Shari Franke's book. I highly recommend it. The book is called The House of My Mother, Daughter's Quest for Freedom. That is definitely the book of the week I am recommending to y'all. Please, I already have a book of the week for next week, and holy shit, I'm only on chapter 6, and it kind of like triggered a childhood thing, but it's also like, this is actually kind of helping me work through it in a weird way. So maybe if you had a fucked up family, hearing Shari's story or reading her book can help you work through it in a fucked up way that it's not fucked up, but it's your fucked up way of doing it. Yeah, in this book, Shari, she basically said what everybody was thinking. And it's good to know that brainwashing doesn't work on everyone, and you can break yourself out of it. So yeah, we're just gonna get straight into it. We're gonna go into the first segment, which is the biography. Ruby Franke was born on January 18th, 1982, and I'm pretty sure that makes her a Capricorn. Oh my god, that makes so much sense. Wow. In the moment, let me get the drink. Hold on, y'all. So I'm trying beatboxes for the first time. Also, I'm not recording this because I don't have the stuff yet, and you haven't given me any money. I haven't seen no money on my Cash App. So, anyways, I got beatboxes. I've never tried them, but they're 11.5% alcohol, and it's snowing outside, and I'm pretty sure I have to be trapped in the house tomorrow working from home, so I might as well. Which one is this one? Excuse me, I coughed. This one is the Beatbox Orange Blast. Contains alcohol, 16.9 fluid ounces. This is a big bitch. She definitely feels big. So yeah, we're going to open her up. Oh, okay, good. It doesn't have that fuck-ass thing. Oh, was I supposed to shake this? Does it say shake it? Nowhere on the instructions on the bottle does it say shake it, so I think I'm good. That is dangerous. That is straight up fucking orange juice. Oh my god. That is so dangerous, y'all. That is straight up orange juice. Wow, okay. So, that makes her a Capricorn. That makes a lot of fucking sense. She was born in Utah. Again, makes sense. She's Mormon as fuck. The first time I ever saw the family, I was like, they're Mormon as fuck. And that's not an insult. It's an observation. I want to be very clear. Actually, I think the only religion that you can not respect because it is based on absolute, complete, and utter bullshit is Mormonism. And I say that with a full chest, and I do not feel bad about it. If you need to unfollow me or stop being my fan, or you're like, ooh, yes, that was the one thing that you said that was too far, I'm fine with that. If you learn the history of Mormonism, you are going to be like, white people will really go for anything because they have no backbone, and they will go for anything because they stand for nothing. Wow. If I told y'all just a 2-minute synopsis of Mormonism, you would look at your car, at your CarPlay, or at your TV screen, or whatever you're listening to this on, and your mouth would be on the floor, and you'd be like, there's no way that millions of people around the world believe in this with their whole heart. And to answer that, yes, they do. And I'm going to leave that. Actually, no, I can't leave that there. I'm sorry. We're going to do this cool thing called Chat GPT, because I don't feel like, actually, no, we're not going to give Chat GPT any more substance. Let's fucking use Gemini. We're gonna go on the cool little thing called Google, and I'm going to look up a brief synopsis of Mormonism. Okay. Mormonism is the religious beliefs and practices of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Mormons believe in the Bible and in the Book of Mormon, and that Joseph Smith was a prophet who restored the original church. Beliefs: Mormons believe in God, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Ghost. They believe that families are eternal and that marriage is between a man and a woman. Pretty much any denomination. They believe that all people are a spirit of God. Okay, I don't hate that. They believe that returning to God requires following Jesus Christ's example. Again, this is not terrible. I feel like Google is trying to water this down, because if I told you the real shit, you'll be like, well, what the fuck? What if I told you that they think that everything that happened in the Bible happened in America? What if I told you that? What if I told you that Mormons really do believe in their heart that everything that happened in the Bible happened in America? What if I told you that they don't believe that pretty much anything prior to the New Testament did not happen? What if I told you that they don't believe in dinosaurs? What if I told you that they really believe that a random nigga went into the woods, saw some golden plates, and God told him that this is my exact word verbatim. You can only read it one time. I'm never going to repeat it to you, and you can never repeat it to anyone else. And they just have to go with your word. They also think that Jesus was crucified in North Carolina. I can't make this up, y'all. Google it. If I'm wrong, if I'm lying, I'm flying. If I am wrong, go in any of my social media comments and correct me. They think that Jesus fucking Christ, sorry God, that was very, very wrong. They think that Jesus Christ was crucified in North Carolina. I can't make it up. I wish I could. Yeah, no, this is trying to like sugarcoat. Yeah, no. They 100% think that everything that happened in the Bible happened in America. They also don't think that dinosaurs exist. So when you Google Mormonism, you're going to get a bunch of bullshit like I just got, and I didn't like that watered down version. Go on YouTube and look up a documentary about Mormonism from like an unbiased point of view. Everything that happened in the Bible, they think happened in America, and I'm not going to repeat that again. Anyway, her and her husband, Kevin, who I think should be in fucking prison, but anyway, were married in 2000, and they were divorced in 2003, because she went to fucking prison. I wrote Mormon 101. So basically, Ruby and Chad, no, that's the oldest son's name. Ruby and Kevin met at BYU, which is like Brigham Young University. Brigham Young is, I think, another prophet of Mormonism. Girl, none of that shit makes sense, and I'm not gonna make my brain hurt to make it make sense. But they went to BYU University, that ironically, if I'm not mistaken, Kevin still is a professor at. They met there, and it's very normal within the Mormon community, especially at BYU, to like meet somebody, be in love within 3 weeks, within a month we love each other, and within 6 months we're married. Like, that's very normal. So I kind of understand what like other races say when they say that like black people sometimes have the issue because we're not taught to like meet somebody, fall in love, get married as soon as you meet that person. We're taught like you should probably experience life and enjoy life. But I think that and this is just a tangent. I think that comes from a lot of black people, especially women, didn't really have the freedom to enjoy their lives, and they saw white women being able to have the freedom to enjoy their lives. Even the white women that get to divorce their husbands, they still have the freedom to enjoy their lives. Black women were not held to the same privileges, and I think that's why within the black community, our elders are always instilling in us, you can get married at any time, you can find the love of your life at any time, you can have kids at any time, you need to live your life for you now and have the most fun, because we need to remember that we are our ancestors still, and that they are living vicariously through us, whether we like it or not. And they are seeing that we finally have, they're going to be taken away from us very fucking quickly, but that we have the privileges to live a good life and to do whatever the fuck we want, and then worry about settling down later. So why the fuck would we do that now? But then, because society is changing, and now it's like, oh, you're 24 and you're not married, now you're weird. And now it's changing, and now everybody wants to be married by 21 and have 2 kids by 24. I don't understand that. And I think it's because I am Latina and I'm black and I grew up with hella people in the fucking house. I'm not interested in that. But I digress. So they met, and literally within like within 3 months we're married. We're engaged, like full I love you. And by 6 months they were married. And then I believe a year and a half later, Shari was born. And then the other one, I think they have 6 altogether. Yeah, because the mom and the dad make them 8. She was arrested, as y'all know. And if you don't know, hi, Ruby Frankie's in fucking prison. Well, she's technically in jail because she's awaiting trial, or maybe she is on. I actually don't know if the trial started or not. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I didn't pay I was listening, and I finished and I listened to the entire book, but I did tune out the last 6 chapters because the book came out so close to when the real events happened. I was watching the real events happen in real time on TikTok and on YouTube and on the gossip channels and on Sloan and all these different channels and all these true crime channels who kind of stopped what they were doing and kind of got into this 8 passenger shit and was giving play-by-play, day-by-day updates. So I really didn't need to read the last 6 chapters because I was there. But she's in but she is awaiting trial still. So she's in jail, and then after you get sentenced, then you go to prison. Jail and prison are not the same. Prison's actually better because you have more freedom because you're there for longer, so you can do more shit and you have more access to more stuff. Jail sucks. So arrested with Hildebrandt in August. So Ruby was arrested with Jody Hildebrand, who we will get there, on August 30th, 2023 on 6 counts of aggravated child abuse, which is a felony. Her very first arrest ever in her entire life, and her Mormon ass got a felony, 6-count felony. That's a felony 6 times. That's uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis. Felony. The first time. That's crazy. They started YouTube in 2015, and I remember when shit started to get weird in like 2018, because that's when I found their channel. But they started family vlogging very early, when family vlogging was like the shit still. I remember I used to watch family vloggers, and I used to watch, I don't remember the name of one of the channels, but I do remember the name of the other one. And I literally only watched 2 people. I used to watch the Daily Bumps. Tell me if they still make like YouTube videos. Actually, you know what? I have my iPad in front of me. We're gonna look. And then I used to watch this other channel, and the mom was a beauty YouTuber, and then she got married and they had kids, and then the husband because the husband used to help her edit. I think her name was like Jenny or some shit, and they were of Asian descent. I think that they were Japanese, because every vlog, the husband would open up the vlog with like, "Arigato gozaimasu," or like he would say, and that what I just said was like not trying to be like an asshole or nothing. Like, it's like I can't remember but it was like along the lines of like "Arigato oza" something. But he used to like start every video with like a Japanese saying. And those were really the only 2 family vloggers I watched, because I thought that everybody else was weird. Like, I was like, they're just vlogging their lives type shit, like propping the camera up and just doing their shit. I feel like other family channels look like the Ace family and stuff, doing like the skits and the pranks and stuff. I was not into that, because why are you pranking a 4-year-old with like, you're going to Disney? You're not going to Disney. And you know what's funny? I'm using that example, and that literally is what got that boy's bed taken away. But we're going to get there. I'm getting too far ahead of myself. So I used to watch family channels. I used to watch them, and I used to watch the Daily Bumps. And I remember I used to watch them around 2015, 2016. I used to come home from school in high school and watch my family channels, and that was what I used to eat to. That was like every day they would post a vlog while I was at school, and I knew every single day I could come home and look forward to watching this family's vlog. And I knew it was going to be anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour long, and it wasn't anything. It was a way for me to disassociate from my day. It wasn't anything too crazy. There was never any real drama, because it's a regular fucking family. And it was also like, damn, I want this for myself one day. Maybe not with the camera, but like, I want this for myself one day, right? And the 8-pastor family definitely jumped on that, and them being Mormon definitely fucking helped. When it comes to businesses, Mormons don't fucking play. When it comes to businesses, Mormons do not play. If you are a Mormon and you start a business, and you know a fellow Mormon, boom, you have a customer. They don't play about that shit. So as soon as she was posting in like in like Mormon Facebook groups, like, "Hey guys, me and my family, we do family vlogs, along with I run a mommy blogging," because mommy blogging and blogs were like a thing still, and they still are, but they're not as what they once were. But you know, can you guys like check out our channel? Check out your channel. You had like 20,000 subscribers within like 4 fucking months. Talk about check out your channel. Yeah, I bet you they did check out your channel. But it worked, and they kept growing and growing and growing. And honestly, Ruby was kind of doing the same kind of content, like propping the camera up and just doing stuff, but it was also gave kind of performative. It did give kind of like, because I did go back and watch some of the vlogs on different people's channels, because I don't even think the 8-pastor channel was up anymore. I'm pretty sure they had to take it down for like evidence or some shit. But I have watched some vlogs on other people's channels, because I was like, if I'm going to talk about this, I read the book, let me do some real research. And when I say real, I mean on top of what I've read, let me see for my eyes what I need to see. And I'm like, number one, the dad looks like he's not even a part of the family, and he's always in his own world. Number two, They do not like their mom, and no one is enjoying themselves. That's what I took from that family. They don't like her. No one is enjoying themselves, and that dad is like not even there. Right? And they went very, very viral. They went very, very viral because of, they had a video that you would think this would have been like the call sign to be like, this family's weird as fuck. I don't know if y'all ever saw the video of the 8-passenger mom getting a phone call from her daughter who was in kindergarten. Evie was, let me not use the minor's name. The child was in kindergarten. And the school called and said, hey, Evie, shit, I used her name again. Well, you know what, man? She put the damn videos on the internet. I've been fucking drinking. What the fuck y'all want me to do? If y'all want to know the girl's name so bad, y'all can go Google it. Like, goddamn. Anyway, the little girl's name was Evie. And the school called him and said, hey, Evie doesn't have a lunch. I think that either you or whatever happened, she forgot a lunch. She don't have it. I know that she usually packs lunch. I don't know if y'all have a thing. Like, she doesn't have money on her school account to even like buy a lunch. So can you bring her a lunch? And she's like, no, Evie is responsible for packing. Mind you, the baby girl is in kindergarten. Evie is responsible for packing her own lunch. She knows the expectations, and the consequence of her not packing her own lunch is that she will be hungry and she will not eat until dinner. What? Bitch, what? That was the most... And then she had the audacity to say Evie's teacher felt uncomfortable. I hope that no one feeds her. What? Bitch, that should have been evidence enough to go to the fucking police. Are you... What? And the teacher is a mandated reporter. And I bet you that when that bitch got arrested and she figured out what happened and what that mom was doing to those kids, that teacher felt awful for not doing more than just a phone call home. I guarantee she felt terrible, because as a teacher, you are a mandated reporter. A parent forgetting a lunch, that's no reason to call CPS or to mandate report. That shit happens, especially if you know that this child is one of 5 or one of 6. Shit happens. Having to call the mom and remind her, like, hey, your daughter has no lunch. Can you bring her one? That is also not deemable to call CPS. Shit happens. Y'all always talk about giving moms grace, but it's always give moms grace when their child is acting an ass in a grocery store and screaming their head off with no disabilities. They're just being a nuisance. But it's not, let's give moms grace when they forget to pack a lunch or running late picking up their damn kid for something. They're not doing that shit on purpose. They're trying their absolute best, but this bitch was not. And you know what's deemable to call CPS? Calling the mom, telling her, hey, your daughter has no lunch, and the mom saying, oh, but that sucks. She knows that that's her responsibility. You're not going to bring her lunch? No. You're just going to let her be hungry. What time do y'all eat dinner? 8? So you're going to let her be hungry from like what? Kindergartners eat at like what? 11? From 11 to 8. A whole shift at work. You're going to let her be hungry? Okay. I got something for that ass. DCFS, bitch. I got something for that ass. So I guarantee that that teacher feels terrible, but that's not her fault. I mean, like, she should have did something, but also, like, whatever. By the time that their channel, like, ended and everything was all said and done and Ruby got him arrested, as of June 20... Actually, no, I am lying. As of June 2020, which is 3 years before she got arrested, they had 25... No. Sorry, that's a dot. 2.5 million subscribers and 1.0 billion views. They had 1 billion views and 2.5 million subscribers. Now, I did write that down and not type it out, so that could say 2.5 or that could say 25. Either way, impressive. I have been stuck at 27,000 on TikTok for about 3 years, so that's impressive to me. yeah, like the bitch knew marketing. The bitch knew how to work it. She knew how to work the system. She knew how to make it work for her advantage. The bitch knew what the fuck she was doing. And the way she treated her children and what she did to her children were disgusting and deplorable. So I'm going to list out some of the things that she did to her kids and explain. First, Ruby would tell her children what to write in their journals so that she could read them later. And because she raised them like that, they saw nothing wrong with that. So Shari was talking about it in the book, and the way that her mom explained it to her was, the purpose of a diary is for you to be able to communicate with me even when you don't want to speak directly to me. So basically from jump, her mom brainwashed her and told her that the purpose of a diary, let's Google what the fuck the word diary means. I love having an iPad. A book in which one keeps a record of daily events and experiences, and or in which one keeps things close to them and a secret. So, the definition of a diary is daily events. We know what the fuck a diary means. When a teenage girl or a young girl has a diary, off limits. Right? But because Ruby raised them to be like, oh no, the purpose of a diary is to communicate with me, that they didn't understand that there are things that they can keep to themselves, but they don't have to tell their parents. Like they didn't understand that. So she would read their diaries after, and sometimes apparently read them on camera. I never saw any clips of her doing it on camera, but I did see, a whole video montage of her taking her daughter to buy her first bra, which was weird. And now that I think about it, her mom may have understood that predators were watching her videos and was most likely monetizing off of predators watching her videos, because I can't think of a single reason why you would need to post a video of a 12 or 13-year-old girl going to shop for a sports bra for the first time. Can't think of a reason. And because I know how pedophiles' brains work, because I have watched so much true crime and I've done so much research just to understand, why the fuck do you think like that? Why are you like that? Like, ew, like Summer Jones had asked, like, why are you like that? And pedophiles, I don't think science could ever come to the conclusion as to why they are the way that they are. But I guarantee that Ruby probably figured that out and monetized on it. Because now that I'm saying it out loud, why would you film and put on the internet your daughter shopping for her first bra? Like, I would be mortified if my mom had, like, her phone out taking pictures and stuff while I was picking out my first thong. Like, that would be mortifying. Right? Like, whatever. They straight up told Shari that her not having friends is her fault because, verbatim, you're not a fun person to be around, end quote. They said that to their daughter. Kevin, the dad, who should be in fucking jail, and I will stand on that forever, and Ruby told their daughter, Shari, the one that wrote the book, who we're talking about, like who his whole fucking podcast episode is about, that the reason you don't have friends is because you're not fun to be around. No, the reason that she didn't have friends is because they sheltered her and wouldn't allow her to do anything. And then the friends that she did have, they wanted to do stuff that she was just not allowed to do. And she was a good kid and she wasn't going to go against what her parents said, even though she wanted to, right? But like, that was a really weird thing to say to your child. Like, hey, you don't have any friends, but that's your fault. What? Hello? Help me. I'm under the water. Hello. What the fuck? What are we talking about right now? Number 3, the kids were given physical labor punishments such as running or doing push-ups until they threw up. So fun fact, that's torture. That is considered torture. The CIA considers that torture. Now, ironically, the CIA made the handbook for torture and does it. But anyway, but yeah, so that is torture. I'm not saying that as a child, would I rather had to run like 10 laps back to back with no breaks instead of being spanked for like 10 minutes straight? Yeah, as a fully grown adult with a fully frontal lobe, yes. As a child, would I rather have just taken the spanking or the lecture? Yes. Yes. You can feel how you feel about that. I wrote that down because I thought that was weird, because me having to run 10 laps, that's not really a punishment, because I have to do that in gym class and I have to do it for like a grade. So like it's not really helping my brain kind of like compartmentalize what is running for a grade, what is running for sport and athleticism and because I want to, and what is running for a punishment. It's going to get their bodies confused. I think the guy at the vape store like liked me because I was like, let me get a Cool Mint Geek Bar, as one does, as I always do. This motherfucker brings out a Pulse X that has literally, every time I hit it, it has a like astrological thing on it. But anyway, I just thought that was weird. And throwing up to the pushing up till you throw up is just kind of like, oh, okay, that's weird. Now, I wrote this down, but this is not a bad one. This is actually a positive, and this is a plus. This is a point. I mean, Shari already started off with like 100 points, and Ruby started off with -5. But this is a +1 for Shari. She would blackmail her mom into letting her do stuff, into like doing stuff for her, because basically, pretty much from what I got from it, everybody tuned in for the vlogs for the older kids. Like, nobody was really tuning in to see what Evie, the kindergartner, was doing, or to see what, like, the third grader was doing. Nobody gave a fuck. And I say that in, like, the nicest way and most respectful way possible, because I've been drinking and that came off kind of morbid. But, like, nobody gave a fuck about... They wanted to see what Chad, the second to oldest, was doing, and what Shari was doing, because they were in high school. So the people like me who were in high school watching family vloggers, I wasn't watching the 8 passengers, but you catch my drift, could relate to them and be like, oh my god, yeah, what's the drama at your school, girl? This is the drama at mine. But then you forget that they're Mormons, so, and like, they're not supposed to gossip and shit, even though they all do, but whatever. So Shari realized, if I'm not in the videos, we don't get as many views, and you have to basically beg me to be in the videos and look like I'm having a good time and use my free will to be in the videos, even though she was forcing them to and abusing them to. Sorry, y'all. Any breaks you hear, I'm either hitting my vape or I'm taking a drink. This beatbox is fucking good, yo. This is orange juice. This is just a screwdriver, just with no vodka, just with wine. Or maybe this is a screwdriver. I don't know what's in this. What's in this? Go into the chapel and we're gonna get... Oh, guess what this is a product of? Mexico. Don't tell the Republicans that. Okay, anyway. But she was actually really smart, because as someone that also had had an abusive parent, well, he no longer abuses me, but he's still in my life. As someone that had an abusive parent, once you figure out where that sweet spot is and where you can really get them, you can get anything you fucking want. I stopped asking if I could go places when I was like 16 or 17. I stopped asking permission to do stuff when the day I turned 18, I stopped asking permission to do stuff. I started paying majority of my own bills by 19 so that nobody could tell me shit. Yeah. So once you get that sweet spot, you can get them however you want. I'll be in this video if I can go hang out with my friends this weekend. I'll do this bit in the video, and I'll act like it's real if you fill my car up with gas. If I can hang out with so and so after school tomorrow, I'll let you wax my eyebrows, like stuff like that, right? So that was really smart on Shari's part, and shout out to her. Now, this is not shocking. It was shocking to hear, and okay, no, it's not shocking. It was nice to be vindicated. I guess that's the best way I can put it. Clothes, gas, everything is a business expense / tax write-off. They are scamming the government. A lot of these YouTubers and content creators are scamming the government. And your favorite celebrities are scamming the government too. When I do my Kardashian episode, and I will do my Kardashian episode, and it will be a multi-part episode. And I will not do it until I can film it, because y'all deserve to get it real. Okay? I've been enamored with that family. It goes in waves of negative to positive enamorment, but enamorment with that family since 2007, since the very first episode of the Kardashians I ever watched. I was like, everything about this family is interesting, and it goes in waves of positive to negative. Right now, it's negative. I'm pretty sure it's going to stay negative for the prolonged future, but yeah. Everything is a tax write-off. Clothes, shoes, because I need to have clothes on in the videos, and the videos pay our bills. And the profit from the videos pay our taxes. So if you want me to pay the taxes, then you need to take money that I owe off of for buying this outfit. Well, the house is for the vlog. It's a business expense. The amount of people that are opening up business accounts, taking out business loans, and buying houses with them, and telling the government that they're running their business out of that house to get a write-off, to get their house wrote off so they don't have to pay property tax or sales tax, is crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. All I'm saying, I don't want to go off on much of a tangent, because if I talks about tax evasion and tax fraud with fucking celebrities and YouTubers and content creators, I could talk about it all day. But just know, when I do get to that point, it is fraud. Know that. Yasmine's on a PJ and has a it's on a PJ and has a Louis bag. I am $65,000 in credit card debt. Okay. I'm kidding. First thing I do when I start to make like some real money off of content, I'm getting a fucking accountant. Y'all niggas are stupid. I'm smart. And I'm getting a Jewish accountant too, preferably a black Jew. Preferably a black Jewish accountant. They gonna look out for me like I've never been looked at before in my life. Also, this has nothing to do, and I just want to say this. How far deep are we? 37 minutes in. I want to say this, and I think I'm going to say it in a couple more podcasts, just so like my point is really put across. At this point, as of Wednesday, February 19th, 2025, if you are still a fan of Kanye West, you are a white supremacist. You are a neo-Nazi, and I will treat you as such. There is no more excuses. There is no more excuses. There is no more, oh, well, he made graduation day. He tweeted last year DEFCON 3 to all Jewish people, and then followed that tweet up by saying he would personally help fund the next Holocaust. He then tweeted about a week or two ago from this date of the 19th. Hail Hitler. I love Hitler. I hate Jews. Then spent money to take out a Super Bowl ad that only aired in like 3 or 4 states, promoting his website, I think to sell like Yeezy or some shit. As soon as the Super Bowl was over, every single thing on that website changed to one t-shirt or one sweatshirt, and it has a swastika on it. He is in your face telling you, I hate Jewish people. I am an anti-Semite. I am xenophobic. I am all the phobics. I am a terrible person. He's in your face telling you this. This is not a social experiment. This is not mental illness. This is not anything but Kanye West is a white supremacist. Kanye West is one of the very few black celebrities that realize that nothing that goes on in the government and nothing that goes on outside of his world affects him, because he is very, very rich and he is very, very powerful. Kanye, the Kardashians, and all of these celebrities that we were so upset weren't speaking out. They weren't speaking out because it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't affect them. They are rich and powerful. When it's time for us to leave, they're going to be in the pods, not us. Kanye understood in 2016, but this did not affect him. None of this affects him. What affects him is money, and he will always make enough of that. If you are still a fan of Kanye West in 2025, you are a white fucking supremacist, and you need to stay the fuck away from me. You are a neo-Nazi, and you are an anti-Semite. And I don't like none of those things, and I don't want none of those things around me. And I will remind you of it every chance I get. Full stop, end of sentence. Anyway, back to the Frankies. That got kind of serious. I just wanted to, make my point clear. Anyway, everything is a tax write-off. And honestly, that's good to know for when I start making some real money and content. But they bought a brand new house. Shari was we grew up pretty poor. My mom was a canner, couponer. There was snacks were not an option. You ate at breakfast, you ate at lunch at school, and you ate at dinner, and you maybe had a snack throughout the day, and that was all you had. If you was thirsty, you drank water. Colored drinks were for dinner type shit, because they were poor. They weren't poor, but it was one income professor. Professors make very good money. And I don't know if a professor can support 8 people all at the same time off that same salary. But, so she was very transparent. I didn't grow up po. We had the OR, but I didn't grow up the way that my life from 6th grade to my life when I graduated from high school was two different, very, very different tax brackets, was the way that she basically described it. And I have a friend whose mom started working for the government, and when he was a freshman or a sophomore, I met him his sophomore year. When he was a freshman or a sophomore, his mom got a top secret government clearance and went from making $75,000 a year to making just her first entry level in making $200,000 a year. So he's the only person that in my life that I can compare to the tax bracket that he had entering 6th grade and the tax bracket that his family was in graduating high school. 2 different tax brackets. And he's the only person that if I needed to have it explained to me, that he could explain it to me and I would understand it, because he's the only person in my life that would get that. But from reading her book and just seeing the progression, I get that. And it was a very slow but drastic. It was slow to us, drastic to them at the same time. So they grew up in, I think, a 3-bedroom house. Mom and dad had their own room. All the boys shared a room. All the girls shared a room. They ended up moving into, I think their new house was 1.2 million. I think they bought their original house for $50,000 in 2003. They bought their new house for 1.5 or 1. It was 1.2 or 1.5. It was 5 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms. It was crazy. I think pretty much everyone had their own room at that point, and it worked out because Shari was about to go. They moved into it, I think, her senior year, so Shari was about to go to college anyway. So it worked out for her. Oh my God, I almost dropped my microphone. That's just my phone that I'm using as a mic. But it was just very interesting that Shari was things started changing very quickly, but I didn't understand where all the money was coming from. And then when I started understanding where all the money was coming from, I was then why are we still acting like we don't have money? Why? Because in Shari's 16-year-old brain, she's I've seen the family bank account. I have seen the AdSense for our channel. Why am I getting a hand-me-down car? Why am I not getting a brand new car? Because to a 16-year-old, that's your first thought. Especially when you are, when you have your ear closer to the ground of what's going on than your parents do, and they're coming to you asking like, hey, what's trending right now? What's going on? What's everybody on the internet talking about? That's like a grab word that if I put it in the title of our video, YouTube will know to put it on the main page. Because that's literally how content creation work. Content creation is luck and strategy at the same time. The first 2-3 times, luck. Anything after that, strategy. Strategy. That's why I called Morgan, the girl with the baby daddy that got like 6 other baby mamas. The nigga from Atlanta. I called that immediately. I said, she's so dumb and smart at the same time. She's dumb and smart at the same time. And literally the day I said that, the next day she got exposed for still fucking him and giving him like $60,000. Oh my God. My drink just spilled all over me. There was like a plop sound. That is what you heard. And my drink just spilled. Anyway. But like, I kind of get it. Because she's just like, hey, I've seen our AdSense. Like, y'all, like, asked me to help y'all with that. Why am I not getting a brand new car? But obviously, as a grown adult, she understands, like, because mom got a brand new car, and she deserved a brand new car more than you did. Not saying that Frankie deserves anything nice. It's just, like, take out the Frankies and just a regular family dynamic. Mom deserves a new car more than you do. The fuck? And also, your first car is supposed to be a hoopty, so you have appreciation for a brand new car when you get one. Hello. Duh. So Ruby Frankie was actually fucking insane, and this is honestly some Mormon ass shit. And I low key, when this happened in the book, I kind of saw it coming. Ruby pulled Shari out of school because she liked a boy. So Shari had like a little like boyfriend. It wasn't even like a boyfriend. It was like a little like boy toy. Like they liked each other. I think they had kissed a couple of times. It wasn't anything like super serious. Well, I guess the boy's mom was just as Mormon as Ruby was. And the boy's mom went through his phone. And they went to church together, I guess. And contacted Ruby and was like, your daughter is talking to my son and blah, blah, blah. And put all the blame on Shari, of course, because she's the girl. And she came home from school and her mom and her dad were there. And they were basically like, so we've already pulled you out of school. So you're going to be out of school for like a week. And then you're going to go back. But you're going to go to Chad's school, which is like a private Mormon school. And she's like, no, because she's like, she likes her friends, she likes her man, she likes her teacher. She's finally starting to like find a clique and like a friend group. Like things are finally starting to go good for her. And because she literally is doing a natural teenager thing and having a crush on a boy, her mom was like, yeah, no, die tonight, bitch. Maybe not die tonight, bitch, but like her mom was like, yeah, no. So that's not going to happen at all whatsoever. And I wish the fuck that you would. Like, her mom was like, yeah, so fuck no. Tuh. Like, for real. I told my friend that I want to move out of the country, and he was like, bitches is serious. Yo ass gonna want to come back. And I texted him back, and I was like, I mean, I can visa it, so if shit goes left, I can always just come back home, get a new game plan, and then just go somewhere else. But I'm going to talk more about that when I have more of a game plan. Anyway. Yeah, so that was like really fucked up. That was weird. And also that is abusive behavior. Do not do that to your kids. Because that's going to show them that I can't be in a relationship and I can't trust you. But I digress. So Ruby told Shari that she had no empathy because she wasn't open towards her. And then made her see Jody, and it was either you talk to Jody or they will take away all aspects of her freedom. So it was like, I will take away your car, I will pull you out of school, and you will do home schooling. You will not be allowed to have a car. I will take you out of, you won't be allowed to have a job. I will take you out of sports. There will be no reason for you to leave this home if you do not speak to Jody. And this is when Jody kind of starts to come up more and more in the book, and she kind of starts to weasel her way into the family. So now we're going to talk about Jody Hildebrand. I didn't look up nothing about Jody Hildebrand because I don't give a fuck. I'm going to tell you what I know. Jodi Hildebrandt is a Mormon who is a licensed whatever the fuck, but she's not a therapist. She is not a licensed therapist. She has never been a licensed therapist. She's like she's like a counselor. A counselor and a fucking therapist are not the same thing. Do you remember when you used to go to school and like your grandpa died and you crying in class and they send you down to the counselor and she's like, why are you crying? And then you say, because my grandpa died. And when they call in the school psychiatrist, because she's not equipped to deal with that shit. That's why. None of her kids talk to her. They all fucking hate her because she's a weird ass bitch. I think her niece or her granddaughter came out and spoke out about her. Okay, no, actually no. Grand person? The niece is non-binary. So I don't know. Grand person? I guess I'm not woke with the whole gay thing. I don't know. No. No, but for real, is it grand person? I don't fucking know. But kin to Jodi came out and did an interview, and they were like telling their experiences living with Jodi, and literally had to like run away from Jodi's house. Like, it was terrible. Also, Jodi is a lesbian, and I know a lesbian when I see one, and the way that I was able to clock it so easy with Scotty and Natalie, and I wasn't able to clock it as easy with Ruby and Jodi, kind of pisses me off, because it wasn't until chapter 26, very important chapter. Please, if you don't read any chapter, read chapter 26. Until chapter 26, where I literally had to take my headphones off while I was cleaning my room, and I was like, oh shit. Hold on. I have really thin walls in my neighbors. My neighbors are arguing. Hold on, y'all. Quick transmission. I have to put my ear towards the wall. Give me 1 second, y'all. Give me 1 second. So it sounds like he's arguing with his whole family. All right, so it sounds like, sorry y'all, I had to take a quick break because I have thin walls in my apartment and my neighbor was arguing, and usually he's arguing with his baby mama who he cheated on while she was pregnant. But this time I guess he's arguing with his whole family, and it's not as interesting. Anyway, do y'all do that? Anyways, they were like screaming though. But anyways, so they basically were like, Ruby was basically like, you don't show me any, like, you have no empathy towards me, which is, she's just trying to use fucking therapy talk. She was basically like, we don't have a relationship, and I noticed that you're distant towards me. Gee, I wonder why. You have verbally, emotionally, and physically abused her whole life. I wouldn't really want to talk to you either, because my dad said the same thing to me. I think like a month ago, my dad was like, why don't you want to talk to me? And I was like, because we don't have anything to talk about. We're roommates. We have nothing to talk about. And I left it at that, because I'm at the point we don't have anything to talk about. So Ruby was like, you don't show me any emotion. So if you don't talk to Jodi, I'm going to take away all of your freedom. Because obviously you have a mental issue, and Jodi's the only person that can fix it. Hello? Mind you, Shari was in therapy. Like, Shari had to beg to go to a therapist, a real therapist. And she started to like actually talk to her therapist, and her therapist is a stupid ass bitch and kept going back to her mom and telling her what the fuck she was saying. Therapists as a minor are not supposed to tell your parents anything that is not jeopardizing your health or your fucking safety. So unless so now I guess they're talking about his dad. Oh shit, hold on, they're fighting. Hold on, y'all. This nigga is crashing out. crashing out, y'all. Y'all, this is live. Y'all, this is live. Ear against the door, listening to my neighbors. Sorry, y'all. I have to catch it live. Okay, so basically from what I heard, sorry y'all. When I tell you, I will literally stop breathing to hear gossip. So basically from what I am hearing, I don't know who my neighbor lives with, but whoever he lives with, that girl or whoever always got niggas in the house. And he was like, y'all niggas don't respect me. Y'all always got niggas in the house, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, y'all, we're going to keep talking about Ruby Frankie, but I may need to put my ear back to that door later. You know who he sounds like? And it would be so... Because I have lived next to him for the last, 3 years. And I've always thought that he was my friend's little brother, Rocky. But I don't think it's him. But I do know it's somebody. And I think I went down. That voice sounds so familiar. But anyways. Sorry, y'all. That was so messy. Everyone's gonna be like, y'all need to listen to Yasmine's podcast. Because an hour in, she stops to listen to an argument. Anyway, which is insane. That is so crazy to tell your daughter, if you don't talk to this bitch that I'm fucking, that I let eat my pussy any chance that I get, I am going to take away every ounce of freedom that you have. What? So, of course, Shari has no... Oh, no. We were talking about the therapist before I got interrupted. Sorry. So, yeah. There was no... I couldn't think of a single thing that Shari said. Because Shari never admitted to having thoughts of taking her own life. So I can't think of a single thing that Shari could have said that could have warranted her therapist to tell her mom what the fuck they were talking about. But her mom was basically in the nicest, most passive aggressive Mormon way, you won't be going to therapy anymore. There's no need for it. You're cured. You don't have it anymore. What? No, I'm still no, you don't need therapy anymore. And it was just that was the end of the discussion. So she meets this bitch named Jody Hildebrand. Right? And Jody Hildebrand, first thing first, got in the son's head. Because they took the son, Chad, was just doing regular teenage boy stuff. And they just absolutely could not stand that. So they sent Chad to a wilderness camp. Mind you, the same wilderness camps that Paris Hilton has been fighting with Congress to get literally banned in the country. Dropped the, hi, I'm Paris Hilton, and used her real voice and spoke in front of Congress and was these need to be banned. These are torture camps. These are pure torture camps and they must be banned. Y'all gotta do, something about this. Sorry. I gotta get my drink. But yeah, so y'all gotta do... And then he came back from that and then was just still doing regular teenage boy stuff. And from what I heard, I don't think Chad did anything crazy. I don't think he did anything that warranted going to the wilderness camp. But she got in Chad's head first and they took Chad out of sports. And I think Chad was in field... He was in either field hockey, lacrosse, football, or track. He was in one of them sports. And he was damn good at it. And they took him out because they were you're not focusing on whatever the fuck bullshit reason they made up that Jody gave them with therapy talk. And Shari said, but there was a point where that she was they had my brother so brainwashed. I looked him in his eyes and he was no longer there. And he was just whatever Jody says, it's good. As long as you just do what Jody says and what mom wants. And she's just like, what the fuck is going on? So then finally, she was like, I will go and see Jody. So she goes and sees Jody, and the first session they had was awful because Jody's like way of therapy is like, you need to get to the root of your own problem and figure out why you're the problem in the situation before you can figure out the root of the problem of the situation, because sometimes you are the problem, which is like, okay, yeah, sometimes there are times where I'm the problem and I am the one fucking up my own life, and yeah, I can admit that. I don't think my therapist should tell me that in that way, but whatever. Again, she's not a licensed therapist. She's a fucking counselor. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that she was a grief and marriage counselor. She wasn't even like a mental health counselor. And Jody basically used like self-hate tactics on Shari and was like, basically like, don't you hate yourself like you should because you're so rude. And you're so entitled and you think that you're so smart and blah, blah, blah. And Shari's like, these are just things that I think are good traits about myself. And she's like, actually, they're not. Everyone thinks that they're really fucking annoying. Imagine a grown-ass woman, like, in her 40s, looking a 15 or 16-year-old in her face and saying everything about you is annoying. Shari was raised really well because my first immediate reaction would have been, and you're a dumb, ugly, white, stinky, fat bitch, you hunky cunt. But I can't say those things to adults. So Shari, again, was raised much better than I was. She also said that babies were manipulative and said that babies know how to manipulate. And I also, yesterday or the day before, saw a clip of Ruby Franke saying out of her mouth that children are sexual beings. I'm going to repeat what the fuck I just said. And I'm going to try and find I want to try and find the link to the clip and post it like in the description of this episode. I saw a clip either yesterday or the day before of Ruby Franke saying out of her voice box, using her tongue to use her muscles in her voice to say out of her mouth that children are sexual beings. They also said that babies are manipulative, and they know that they are being manipulative. Because they know if they cry that their mother is going to come and give them what they want. But that's not what life is about. They just need to cry. What? Like, they basically explained the cry it out method more barbaric and morbid than the cry it out method actually is. And if you agree with the cry it out method, you're a bad parent. Full stop. I don't care. But, like, she explained it way more insane and morbid and archaic than it actually is. Children and babies know that they're being manipulative because they know that if they cry, you'll come and hold them. Yeah, because they can't fucking talk. And that was the point that Shari made, like, in her subconscious, in her head, in the book. She was like, in my head, I'm like, yeah, because they can't fucking talk. Dumbass bitch. Like, dumbass bitch. I have at number 10, all caps, Jody and Ruby were fucking. Read chapter 26. I feel like that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Yeah. Read chapter 26. Because in chapter 26, at this point, Jody has moved into the family home, has kicking Shari out of her home, out of her room. Jody moved into Shari's room, right? Now, one night, Shari was, I don't know where Shari was sleeping. I think she was sleeping like maybe in like the den area upstairs or maybe like the living room. I don't know, but she wasn't in her room because, you know, Jody had her room. So Shari goes to the bathroom and she says it's around like 5 o'clock in the morning, she thinks. She goes to the bathroom, and as she's coming out, before she comes out, she sees her mom leave her room, Jody's room. And she goes back into the bathroom. She kind of like watches it from like, you know, a crack. And she sees her mom leave Jody's room looking a little disheveled, fixing her hair, and kind of giggling and walking away like a schoolgirl. And Shari in the book said in that moment, she put 2 and 2 together and said, oh my God, it's fucking John Wick. Oh my God, my mom and Jody are having sex. Because the chapter before that, Shari went into her room, because it is her room, while nobody was home, because she had to go in there to get something that was actually hers, like in her closet or like in her drawer or some shit. Girl, she goes in that drawer and she finds like massage oils and stuff. But I think she later realizes most likely some of those massage oils were lube. But she was like, massage oil was in there. And she's like, and her first thought was, is my mom giving Jody massages with this oil? Like, this is very sensual. Like, what the fuck is going on? But she didn't think anything of it, because she's like, this is my mom. Like, she would, like, whatever. Like, the thought didn't even cross her brain. So to see this and putting 2 and 2, she's just like, oh shit. Now, here's where I come in. I think that I think that Jody was manipulating Ruby into making her think that she liked women. I do not think that Ruby has a gay bone in her body. That's a straight woman. She was like, oh yeah, you and your husband, Kevin, the one that should be in fucking jail too, come to my seminars and blah, 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 blah. Kevin came back and told his daughter and was like, that shit was really weird. Like, I don't think I would go to another one again. Like, it was very, like, I hate men and, like, we don't need men. It was just very, like, man-hatery. And it wasn't, like, man-hatery, like, a feminism way. It was, like, man-hatery in, like, a bitter way. And Kevin was like, I don't think I would go to another one. And that kind of, like, clipped off in my brain of, like, okay. She made her take her husband there so that he would be so turned off by her that he would not want to go back to another one. So that way, when she went back, it was just Ruby and Jody could fuck her. Because what is the easiest way to get somebody under control? Take away their money, take away their power, and sexually. If I can manipulate you sexually, and I can manipulate your money, and I can manipulate your power, I have you in the palm of my hand and you don't even fucking know it. And that's morbid and it's fucked up, but that's the fucking truth. If you can manipulate somebody sexually, financially, and in every other way, you got them. And mentally, oh yeah, you got them. They're yours. And Jody knew how to do it. You would have thought that bitch wrote the blueprint on how to manipulate somebody into thinking that they were gay to eat your pussy. I mean, holy shit. So, I also think that Jody used God in a lot of things to be like, oh, well, God wants you to do this or whatever the fuck. I also, and I haven't heard anybody say this theory, I think that Jody and Ruby were cuckolding Kevin. And that's why it took Kevin so long to leave the house, because it probably got to a point where he was watching them fuck one night and he was no longer like jacking his dick off to it, and it no longer was hot and sexy to him. And he realized, my wife is really, really into Jody, and he realized my marriage is kind of fucked, and that's when he left the house. Because what do you mean Shari got a text at school saying that her father will no longer live in the house until he learns, like, basically, like, how to control, I don't fucking know what bullshit biblical therapy talk reason they gave for him leaving the house, but Kevin moved out. Kevin moved out and took, I think, the two oldest under Shari. So took Chad and then took the one under Chad. And then Chad kind of like didn't want to talk to her for a while. And then there was a moment where she thought that her siblings were dead, because literally the only updates that Shari was getting on her siblings at one point was from her neighbors, because the neighbors were involved enough to know it's not to the point where I need to get the law involved, but it is to the point where I need to update a family member that does not live in this house anymore. Now Shari was quote unquote disowned by Ruby and was made to leave the house. I'm going to be 100% honest. I don't remember what triggered that in the book, because like I said, I stopped listening to the last 6 chapters because I watched it happen in real time. So I really didn't need a recap of it. But now that I'm thinking about it, probably should have paid more attention to those last 6 chapters. I don't remember exactly what caused Ruby and Shari to fall out, but they had a falling out. And Shari said that the very last time she saw her mom in person, not in an orange jumpsuit, was her car was technically her father's car because it was in her father's name. She needed the registration, and she needed like the title to the car, so that way, because if she had the title in her hand, it didn't matter if her mom came afterwards and said, oh, this is my car, or like tried to have the car repoed or tried to have the car towed. Sherry can come out with the title saying, my dad's name is on the title and he signed it over to me, and boom, Ruby can't do anything about it. My dad worked in cars forever. Like my dad is the one that taught me you never leave your title to your car in your car, because if your car gets stolen, your title is your car's birth certificate. All it takes is somebody putting their signature on it, and all they have to do is go to the DMV and say, oh no, this person wrote their title over to me, and now your car is their car legally. Like, it's very easy to steal a car if the title is in there. So do not leave your title in there, and stop walking around with your fucking social on you. Also, if you have a primary ID and it's not your passport, stop walking around with your passport on you. That nothing irritates me more. Anyway, yeah, so I don't remember exactly what triggered that, but the last time that they saw each other, Sherry had got word from the neighbors that they had not seen her mother, that they had seen her mother but not her siblings in about 6 days. So Sherry, automatically, her first thought is, my mom pulled some true crime shit and killed my siblings, and it's just out and about living her best life, and my siblings are probably dead and rotting in that house. Like, that is the first thing Sherry's brain went to, was true crime, because she's a product of her environment. I guarantee that she was probably more implored to watch YouTube than watch TV. And I guarantee that they monitored what she was watching on YouTube less, the more money that they were making. Right? And she probably saw a bunch of true crime, because a real bitch like me, I watched some Bailey Sarian. Do I think that she's a little... Actually, I stopped watching Bailey Sarian's true crime. I only watch her dark histories, because now that I watch other... I actually don't watch true crime anymore. Like, I used to watch other people. Like, I really liked Annie Elise before I stopped. But I got to a point where I had to step back and realize you're listening to someone's murder story at 9:30 in the morning while you're at work answering emails. This is not normal. This is not normal content to put into your brain within an hour of being awake and cognitive. And the same thing of, like, last year, I stopped drinking coffee when I got to work first thing in the morning. And I have like a inner self rule where now that I have a Stanley, it's easier, but I have to drink an entire cup of water, preferably a insulated 40-ounce cup of water. And I have to drink the entire thing before I can even think about putting anything with sugar into my body, because it is insane to drink coffee with sugar in and put it in your body before you put anything else in your body. Like, for me, my body can tell I don't like that, right? So when I used to watch true crime, I used to watch Annie Elise, Bailey Sarian. I know Kendall Ray is a little controversial. I used to watch Kendall Ray. I don't know what the controversy is, but I don't watch true crime at all anymore. So I can proudly say I don't watch their content anymore, y'all. So don't come at me, true crime haters. I don't even watch it anymore. If I'm gonna watch true crime, I'm gonna like watch like the first 48. I'm gonna get on like the ID channel on like Pluto TV. I'm gonna like actually watch like real true crime, like cold case files, like I'm gonna watch that. I'm not gonna watch like YouTuber. I can't do it anymore because they say it so passively without emotion, and it's kind of morbid. And I also don't like the fact that we really haven't gotten on the ball of stop doing recent crimes. If somebody was murdered within 10 years, stop talking about it. That is still recent, and that happened to a real person, and that is a real people's family who has to deal with the fact that real person was murdered or is dead or died in that fucked up ass way. Because even if you're gonna do if you're gonna do true crime content, 2010 and back, that's how I feel. 2010 and back. Anything 2010 to now, it's only been 15 years. That's still fresh. Like, especially when these people are murdered in these morbid, disgusting ways, or they're killed, or it's just they were at the wrong place at the wrong time, but they got really fucked up. I guarantee that somebody does not want to go on YouTube on their lunch break while they're eating their lunch in their office and click on a true crime video, and they get halfway into it and realize it's about their sister. And you did not ask that family's permission to do that. I also feel if it happened between 2000 to right now, you need to ask the family's permission to even speak about it. Because the amount of people that have done the Laci Peterson case and have not even reached out to a single member of her family to even number one, give respect and condolences, and number two, to say, hey, I make content. This is the content that I make. Here's a link to my YouTube channel. You're more than welcome to take a look, see the content that I make. With your permission, if it is okay, I would like to speak about your family member's case. If you do not give me permission, I will not speak about it. I will make a video. I won't ever make a podcast. I will never speak about it. I just wanted to come to you out of respect first. I don't hear that a lot of true crime content creators are doing that. I know that Annie Elise will do it. I know that Kendall Ray used to do it, and that kind of got her fucked up. I have never heard of Bailey Sarian ever reaching out to a victim's family. And like, it's just, I don't know. That was an off tangent, y'all. But regardless, she thought that her siblings, and honestly, when I'm listening to this part in the book, at no point was I like, that's insane. Nope. She had every reason to think that way, because again, as someone that had an abusive parent, there were many a times where certain family members didn't answer the phone and I had to rush home, and my first thought is, please God, don't let me walk into a murder scene. Please God, don't let this be a murder-suicide. I cannot deal with that. I cannot deal with the trauma of seeing a dead body right now, especially of a loved one. So her first thought is, my mother has snapped. She has killed my siblings. Jody probably helped her. And she is at Jody's house living her best life, and no one's even looking at her. She pulled all the kids out of school and started homeschooling them, so there would be no reason for truancy to ever go to the house. She's coming in and out of the house, so there's no real reason for a wellness check. And even if a wellness check is called, they're still legally married. She's still the primary parent. And if she says they're at their Aunt Jody's house and she calls Jody, Jody's gonna be like, yeah, they're at my house. Say hi, kids. And she's gonna beat the fuck out of them until them kids say hi. So Shari had absolutely every right to think the way that she thought. So she immediately got in. She calls her dad, and she's like, Dad, have you heard from my siblings? And he was like, I haven't heard from them since whatever the fuck. And she's like, okay, that lines up with the last time that the neighbors saw them leave the house, but she never saw them go back in. Now, Kevin's dog ears don't perk up enough for me. I had a neighbor whose husband was like Kevin, and we all thought that he was a sociopath because he was always smiling, but nothing was ever funny. Like, his wife was a cunt, and no one, like, the entire block was like, we don't understand what he sees in her. Not beauty, she's just a cunt. And their kids were weird as fuck. Right? So, I believe she calls a wellness check, or she goes there. Again, didn't pay that much attention to the last 6 chapters, but she does a wellness check. I believe she does a wellness check, and no one answers the door. So they call Ruby, and it's like, hey, we did a wellness check because somebody called a wellness check to your home because your neighbors haven't seen you in a week. And the last time they saw your kids, they saw the kids leave the house, but they never saw them come back, but they saw you come back. So we're just calling just to see, is everything good? Are y'all good? Ruby's like, oh yeah, we're just staying at my friend Jody's house right now, and I think Jody lived like 2 hours away from where they were, some shit, but I believe it was in the same state. I've been drinking, y'all. Please just know that look, I'm telling you this how I tell a history story. The dates might not be right, but I'm telling you the right information. Anyway, so they're like, okay, because they don't go over to Jody's house, I don't think, because they have no reason to, because they're talking to the mom, and the mom is a primary parent, and she's still technically married. They called the dad. The dad was like, I don't live in the house anymore. Call the mom. They spoke to the mom. They have really no reason to go do a further wellness check. So they don't. And some more time passes, and Shari still has not talked to her siblings. She calls her mom don't answer. She resorted to calling Jody does not answer. Like, she has called her siblings, no one is answering the phone. She's gone to the house, no one is answering the phone. During all of this, she's being groomed by a grown-ass man in her fucking church. In her church, she's being groomed by a grown-ass man. She sought guidance and sought, not even really companionship, just kind of, not even really, I guess, friendship. But she just wanted to talk to somebody that wasn't going to run back and tell her mom, but also wasn't going to sit in her face and say, well, that's your mom and you need to do what she says and respect her. And you're crazy. For the first time, another adult sat in her face and said, I understand everything that you're saying. You're not crazy. Your mother is wrong. How can I help you? Of course, I'm going to go for that companionship. Because you're an adult, you think that I'm mature, and all a teenager wants to feel is mature from another adult. For the same reason that if you are a mom and you have a sister that's like 10 years younger than you, or a little bit closer in age to your children than they are to you, you're going to notice that your children are going to be a little bit closer to that aunt than any other aunt, or maybe to you. And it's not because they love her more. So, yeah. So finally, she goes to the house. No one is there. She can't find anybody. So finally, she does a wellness check. And it's still nothing. Now, if you don't know how Jody and Ruby got caught, I'm going to tell you. One of the boys, I want to say the youngest son, because the youngest son, I know for a fact that it was a boy, because I remember that I have heard that 911 call at least like 10 times. I remember the man on the phone. I would never forget that 911 call, because the grown-ass man started crying, and that's something that, like, you remember. One of the sons, I believe the younger son, who's older than Evie, the kindergartner, but younger than the one that's living with Chad. So I guess there's 3 left. Escapes. He gets out of Jody's house. They are being held in Jody's basement in like a safe room. And not like a safe room, like a room where you would put a safe. I mean a safe room like if shit goes left and mommy starts going crazy, you lock yourself in this room until mommy is done. Safe room. Like, you could have put a padded wall in there and it would have made sense. Okay? The little boy escapes. They have them bound by their hands and their feet by duct tape, okay? The little boy escapes. He hasn't eaten in God knows how long. These children are so fucking malnourished that he's able to, like, wiggle himself out of the basement window. And if you live in a state, because I did learn that a lot of states can't have basements because of flooding and, like, earthquakes and stuff. So if you do live in a state where you have a basement, you know the basement window, it's like right above the foundation of the house that covers the rest of the basement. He climbed and swiggled his way out of that window, ran to the nearest neighbor's house. Because Jody lived on like land, but it wasn't like, if you live in like the country, then like, you know what I'm talking about, or like the Midwest, where it's like, all of your neighbors have a plot of land, but all of y'all have like a good, like maybe acre or like half an acre. So like it's not like a holler where I can scream and my neighbor can hear me, but I could, if I needed help, run to my neighbor's house and get there in enough time to get help, but also I have my own privacy and my own space and my own land. It was like that. Ran to the neighbor's house, rang the doorbell, knocked on the door, and it's like, didn't ask for help or nothing. He just said, me and my siblings are hungry. Do you have any food? His wife, I believe it was the man's wife that answered the door. And she's like, of course, yeah, come in. Because she's the adult in the situation. A little boy just came to your house and he looks malnourished and he looks like he's been running for his life and he's not asking for nothing but food. Something is wrong. You need to invite him in so he'll start talking. So they invite him in, they give him food, and he's just like, well, I need to take this back to my siblings. They're like, your siblings? How many siblings do you have? He goes, well, I have 6, but only 3 of us are down there. Down where? And that's when, because again, this boy was never taught to lie. He wasn't ever taught to not tell the truth to an adult. So when an elder is in his face asking him a question, he has no reason to lie. He wasn't taught to lie. That actually worked against Ruby. That was good parenting that worked against her. Thank God. So they just start asking the boy questions. Obviously, he's not trying to answer certain stuff, but he's still answering. So the husband, leaves, separates, calls 911. The wife is still trying, get answers out the boy, console him, blah, blah, blah. And if I can find it, I will put a link in the description of this episode to the 911 phone call. It is crazy because, I will always remember it because a grown-ass man cried. This grown-ass man cried. He was like, this boy has obviously been abused. He's malnourished. I don't know the last time that he's eaten. He can't tell me. He said that he got 2 other siblings down there. I don't know where down there is. He said that he came from Jody's house. My neighbor, Jody Hildebrand, blah, 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 blah. And then he just starts crying because he's just a kid, man. He's just a kid. He's so young. I think their son at the time that they got rescued was between 8 and 11. So, these are young kids. They're not old. They don't have the survival skills. And none of them are the oldest sibling amongst them. So they don't even have, even though they're all young, not one of them has that older sibling survival skill of, I'm the oldest, so I have to make sure that everyone is straight. They're all out for their own, but not in the way of trying to go against it. They don't know what else. They don't have these survival skills because they are not the oldest. These are the middle kids that are dealing with all of this. It's the middle and the youngest. They don't have those skills, and the youngest was too young to have those skills. Because as the youngest child, I pick fight or flight. Fight is gonna win. Whereas I'm not the oldest child, but my best friend, who is the oldest child, he picks fight or fight, and sometimes flight wins because he's like, it's not even worth my time. But he also knows when we're in an emergency situation, it's like me and him just lock in, and flight is not an option. We must fight, and we immediately, it's like, because he's the oldest of his siblings and I'm the youngest, so it's like we immediately just take on older sibling, younger sibling. You make a game plan, I will rally everyone together and keep everyone calm and remind them what the goal is. Because when you're in a time of emergency and of survival, you cannot think of could've, would've, we can't do this, we can't know what is going to work in this moment. Your brain has to move that fast. We're dealing with middle and the youngest child who doesn't have those survival skills. So they're just like, I don't know what to do. Sitting ducks. And that's not their fault. They did not know. They did not have the skills, because children should not have survival skills. No child should ever have to use their survival skills. Obviously, we all have survival skills, but no child should be forced to use them if they have to. You feel me? So that happens, goes out on the news. Jody and Ruby get arrested. They get the kids out of the house, and again, the body cam footage, if I can find it, I will link it in the description. The body cam footage is wow, why would you do this? You had, like, there was so much, that was such a big ass fucking house. There was so much house, open floor plan, so many rooms. I couldn't think of a reason or how bad those children could have ever been to be confined to that fucking room, bound by their hands and their fucking feet. Bitch, I hope you die in jail. Are you crazy? I don't play about kids, and this is my platform, and I can say whatever the fuck I want. I hope Ruby Franke dies in prison. I hope she becomes someone's prison bitch, and they fucking kill her. That's what I hope for what she did to her kids. In the fucking name of pussy and God. This has nothing to do with God. God would never approve of that. And this has nothing to do with no pussy. Because I've done some crazy shit for pussy. I ain't never abused no kids for some. That's insane. Like, that is insane. They go to jail. And for whatever reason, I don't know, because honestly, Shari didn't really talk much about her dad in the book in the way that she talked about her mom, because obviously her mom was like the brunt of the abuse, but her father was complacent. And I feel as though I kind of understand why she's putting more blame on the more abusive parent than the complacent one. I do the same thing with like my parents. It's like I put more blame on my dad than I do my mom, even though I know that my mom was complacent. It's whatever. Anyway. So it's like, I understand, but it's also like, it got to the point of abuse where one of your parents are in prison for abusing your siblings. And not even one Fed agent was like, we need to press charges on the husband too. Because he knew what she was doing to these kids. She did not just get arrested for those kids being found bound and tied. She got arrested for after they went through the evidence in her YouTube channel and found everything what they needed to see. She's being arrested for like child neglect, abuse, the whole fucking nine. Why is he not being put on charges too? Like, I never understood that. But yeah, Jody is in jail as well. They are on two separate trials. Pretty much as soon as they got arrested, Jody was basically like, well, this was all Ruby's idea. These are her kids. She told them that she wanted me. She knew that I had a safe room. She wanted to put them down there. I suggested against it, but she was very hell-bent on doing it. And those are her kids, and I didn't want to step in. Like, fully put all blame on Ruby. Ruby was completely silent her first, like, week in jail. After a week, when she went to her preliminary hearing, and it was like, oh, no, you're not getting released on bond because you are, quite frankly, a danger to your children, which makes you a danger to society. You are staying in jail until your trial, no bond at all. I think Jody's is like, it's like 1.2 million or some crazy amount. But I think, but Ruby has no bond at all, because you are a danger to your children. Like, your three youngest see your face, they could go into a full panic attack, right? Jody is now. I heard through the grapevine that Ruby and Jody were sentenced. I googled it. I did not see that they were sentenced. Let me Google it live just to make sure. February 20th. Oh, shit. She was sentenced. She was sentenced last year. I did not know that. I thought that the trial was still going. Okay, y'all. She was sentenced. This is NBC News. She was sentenced February 20th, 2024. Former family vlogger Ruby Franke was sentenced to oh, Jesus. Okay, what? She was sentenced to four 1 to 15 year terms in prison. Both women, and then Jody got the same, and they will still serve their terms consecutively. And then the most that they could serve back to back to back is 30 years. Like that's just like the most. And then the Utah Board of Pardons and Parole will determine how long Franke and Hildebrandt will be incarcerated. Sorry, I'm just reading. Oh, this is fucking Jody's statement. Y'all want to hear her bullshit statement? That ugly, stupid, sloppy bitch. I desire for the children to heal physically and emotionally. One of the reasons I did not go to trial is because I did not want them to emotionally relive the experience, which would have been detrimental on them. My hope and prayer is that, of course, prayer, bitch, is that they heal and move forward and have beautiful lives. Bitch, fuck you. I hope you die too. It could be argued that Miss Franke should receive a lesser sentence than Miss Hildebrandt because of her more recent willingness to cooperate. Probably most likely because the detective in the interrogation room told Ruby that Jody is singing like a canary. She's flipping on you. She never gave a fuck about you. She has been using you. The way that she manipulated you into abusing your kids is the way that she manipulated you into believing anything that she said. Everything about her is a complete lie. She's not even a fucking therapist. She is a counselor. And that's when Ruby started to talk. Let's see. Yeah, so she will get 1 to 15 years, and she'll get 4 of those. So most likely she's only going to do like 4 years, which is ridiculous for bounding and tying up your children in a basement and keeping them in a locked room behind like a steel door. And then your children having to like escape and saying that they haven't eaten in days. And then there's like a lot of footage that the editor has most likely been holding on to that he gave the Fez, that the Fez then gave a different news outlet, because the documentary is coming out, I believe, tomorrow or the 21st, either the 20th, which is Thursday, or the 21st, which is Friday. A new documentary is coming out, and it's going to have like behind the scene clips of basically where, you remember how I said earlier that Shari thinks that the editor actually purposely left that clip in of Chad admitting that he had been sleeping on a beanbag for like 8 months. And that's what like did it. So that is what did it. Well, I guess the editor, well, most likely the Fed subpoenaed the editor and was like, give us any footage that you have that has that family in it. Like anything that you have, like anything that is anything, a hard drive, we don't give a fuck what it is. If it has Ruby's face or any of those children's face or anything to do with that family, give it to us. And most likely the Feds, after they were done with it, because she's already been sentenced, gave it to the news outlets, because there's a documentary coming out of like scenes of like clips that I have never seen, that's obviously unedited, of Ruby basically being like, be happy, blah, blah, blah. It's just like super ridiculous. So, yeah, sorry if you can hear my parents fighting in the back. That is really all they do. Can't do anything about that, y'all. But that's life. So yeah, that is the end of the Ruby Franke, Shari Franke family vlogging has consequences story. What did we learn from this? Did we learn maybe not monetize our children? Did we learn that family vlogging is dangerous? Did we learn that you should not let religion take precedent over your life, and it should be a part of your life but should not be your entire life? I think that's what we learned. And I think that the main thing we learned from this: do not move to Utah and be Mormon. Don't be Mormon, y'all. I know so many people are going to get so mad at me for saying that, but I actually don't care, because Mormons think that everything that happened in the Bible happened in America. And if you are a Mormon and you were not taught that, can you tell me what you were taught? Because from what I read in the Book of Mormon is a very interesting book. I don't recommend anyone read it, but I think it's interesting. I would research it. I wouldn't read it. That was honestly an hour and a half of my life I can never get back. But, that is life. Thank you for listening to CLICKBAIT Criminals. I hope you had a great time. I hope you had a great time with my little pauses, listening to my neighbors fight against my door and my parents fighting and me drinking this beatbox that I am still drinking, and I am not drunk. So maybe I will not get another one of these. Also, maybe I just need a straw. I just thought about that. But yeah, love y'all, and I will see you guys on the next episode of the BIMBO Zone headquarters. CLICKBAIT Criminals. Have a great night. Be safe, and I love y'all. Bye.